Greetings, Ursula here. Today's Saturday, and if it was the first Saturday of Gulf Wars, I would have gotten up this morning and chosen an outfit to finish setting loading in. So today I'm wearing a tunic and pants with an over tunic because it's cold. I have a headdress on, but we're going to see how long it stays because I don't do real well with headdresses. And we may be trying on some really nice warm hats today because it'd be a good day to do that. So let's take a look at what I've got in the booth today and see how it's going. Okay, so what I've got today is I have a wall of yarn. This is all naturally dyed. This is naturally dyed yarn. And what I have is this section here up to this point is a worsted weight. It's a superwash. All right, we're going to be changing over to regular yarn, but right now what I have is a lot of superwash. And then down here is the light colored one, and the brown one is a sport weight. And soon they're going to be joined with many other sport weights, but not in superwash, just regular wool. So those are my hand dyeds, and then we go over to the bulky. There was some interest because a lot of people have been either taking natural dye classes or are interested in learning knitting, and so they're starting with bulky, and so I had a lot of requests for bulky, and this is what I could get. It is a superwash. It's really soft and smooth. This one here is dyed with onions. This one here is dyed with coffee grounds. This one here with cochineal, and this one here is something you can dye yourself. It's natural. I've scoured it because I wanted everything ready to go into a dye pot at Gulf Wars should you be taking classes there. So, and then we go down here, and this, in the bright gold, is Coreopsis, Dyer's Coreopsis. This guy here is walnut, and this one here is madder, but it was a very, very brown madder. It did not give me red or orange. It gave me brown. So that's what we got for that. And of course over here, these are cochineals. All of these guys here are cochineals. This one here is a madder. This is Coreopsis. And I was running low on the Coreopsis bath, so I did throw in some onion skins. So it's a blend of the two. Let's find out what this guy is. According to him, he's a natural dye. Great. Do we know what you are? I think you're walnut. We're going to pretend he's walnut because I think he is. I can actually look it up on the number back in a book. And this one here is coffee. This one here is Osage orange. Some really, really nice person gave me a whole box of Osage orange heartwood sawdust. And so that is one of the things I dyed with that. This guy here is this guy, the beige guy, beige kind of yellow, is tarragon, and this one here is also walnut. And then because, like I said, there were some really fantastic dye classes going on that Aljanya and Mistress Willock, they were going to run, and I was going to teach one too, which I still may later next week. Not this week, though. I picked up an awful lot of undyed yarns for the dye pot. This is the Peruvian. It's called a periwinkle. Don't ask. It's not a color. It's just the name. It's from Peru. And this is a 4-ply, I think as they call it, a 414 sock yarn. It's a fingering weight, and it is a superwash. This one is not. This one's natural. And what is a superwash? Well, a superwash has been treated so that it won't shrink in a wash. Predominantly they use hydrogen peroxide. And what that does is the same kind of thing it does on your hair. It gives it a little bit of a bleach, and then it gets rid of, chemically burns off all the little hairs that will make it curl when it shrinks. So it prevents it from shrinking. And then These are also the 414 in the sock yarn. Let's see what you are. And of course, there goes the headdress. It just says bronze. I'm gonna guess that it's an onion that I did. I would actually have to look that one up. And this one is Osage orange. And then I've got a couple that are just 2-ply, not the 4-ply. And they make great shawls. This one's done with lemon balm. And this one with tarragon. I have a lot of tarragon, Russian tarragon. This guy here is hand spun. He's not naturally dyed. He's just my hand spun. And moving on, this is a whole blank wall of things that we may actually dye and fill out by the end of the week. We'll see. The weather's not cooperating today. It's too windy to run a fire outside. So anybody who's waiting on indigo, my apologies. I'm dependent on the weather. So what I've got are some hats. As you can see, I developed a hat with a curl this year. So this is like a Phrygian cap. And so many guys were asking for the red with the curl because that's very traditional. It goes all the way back to Urumqi. They found in, I want to say 2000 BC, there was a grave they found. It wasn't was not the mummies of Urumqi, but it was actually just a grave they found full of hats. And that was one of the hats that they had done, was with the curl like that. So that's the earliest reference we have to that kind of hat. And it's evolved over the years into many different cultures. We tend to call it a pixie because we do fairy festivals, and so that makes it fairy. But it really has its origins in history. I've got one here in, I call this color sandstone. And then I did a kind of a rose tone striped. And I have, because everybody always asks, and I can't call them this, but just in case you like chocolate, I have a chocolate one. And I have a blue one that I did that has a little tighter curl on the top. So that kind of gives you an idea. Most of them are fairly large. I didn't get any small hats out of that batch. I did them about size 23 inches around your head on up to about 24. So I have an assortment of those. This style here is called a Chico. We put the flower pins on it just because it needs a pin. You can put any pin, that's a pin. You can take that off and put any pin of your own choosing on it, whether you like a Celtic pin or a brooch, favorite brooch that you have. Traditionally in period, it would have been a brooch with lots of feathers coming out, but feathers don't travel well, at least not for me. So rather than remaking each hat at every single stop, we kind of leave it to you. You can take the brooch off and put your own on, or you can leave this one on because it's handmade. I felted that and I dyed those colors myself. I have one flat cap right now in a normal person size. And then I have a number of hats that are for smaller head sizes. They tend to go on the bottom. This is one I really love the color work on, but it ended up really, really tiny. And so unless you're a child or have a very small head, that one's not for you. And then I did a number of just plain Viking caps. We have reference to these from a number of doodles. Monks that watched the Danes attack the English Channel doodled in the margins of whatever they were scribing. And so we have a number of these. They were typically been null-binded and then felted. So they would have started out a lot more like this, or like that one. Those are null-binded. Those are with a Coptic stitch. And they stretch. I did not felt these. If they're too small for you, they have stretch to them. But if they're too small for you, you don't want to actually felt them. They fit quite a few heads though. They do have a good stretch. If you felt them though, like I said, they won't necessarily fit as well. So Let me zoom out and you can see the entire ensemble of hats. So we have, I even did a Callantyr colors. And we have a beautiful lilac colored one with a curl too. And this is just a pillbox that I wove by hand. I dyed the yarn and I wove by hand. It was a learning experience for me to be able to steam hats into shape. And I learned a lot. I don't have a professional steamer, so it makes it very hard to do that and get the shape just right. All right, now on to what I have in yarn. All right, we are out of yellow. We can't do Callantyr or Ansteora or North Shield without yellow. So that's going to be a project this week, is to replenish all the beautiful gold tones. I have a color called Saffron that needs to be replaced in this bin. I also have some blue that needs to be wound, and so hopefully we can get that going too. And then this is the 16-2 linen. Oh, let me introduce you. This is the 40/2. It's thread weight. It's very fine. It's nice to sew with if you're doing any hand sewing. This one is a 16-2. It's a lot thicker. This down here is the 10-3 hemp. Looks like I have some gold in that still, so I don't need to dye that. I was wondering about that. And then way down here, I think we're gonna just move that out from the wall for the moment so you can see what I have left in the 10-6 hemp. And you are looking at this with natural light. I did put in an actual, don't tell anybody, I have a light bulb. It's a grow light. It works fantastic for giving natural light in the booth. And if we were really at Gulf Wars, I would have taken it with me because it's fantastic. All right, so these are my hand dyeds. And let me show you this. I put together a tray because a lot of people were interested in the reds. This is a combination of madder and cochineal. And we'll be doing a madder dye bath later, either this week or next. So stay tuned, come back and take a look if we got that far. This is a Zephyr. And, pardon me, I just bent over. Ignore that. This is not a professional video, nor a Hollywood action movie, so that's what we got. This is a kerchief that is called Springtime Bandit, and you can find that on Ravelry. You can just keep going with the number of rows and make it into an actual shawl instead of a neckerchief. But this is what I have right now for Zephyr. Plus I also have black. It's just not up here yet because it needs to be wound and labeled. So that's what we have today. The books, the weaving supplies, those will be coming out tomorrow because I'm still not quite set up yet. We're getting close. We got to fill this wall out. Gosh, that's bare. We got to do something about that. So I hope you all have a good day. Stay healthy and contact me if you need anything. I'll put a link in the description.